Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. I like to talk about the difference between Dharmic principles and Humanistic principles. And the Dharmic principles have a lot to do with my understanding of yoga, where they believe that the essence of the self, with a capital S, can be seen in the mirror of the mind. But if our intelligence has to use this discriminative faculty, if it's going to help us see the seer, the witness, and abide in that state of pure existence. It's strange that they say, okay, relinquish all thoughts of external things. We kind of understand that, but then a yogi is supposed to relinquish all thoughts of internal things as well. That means think of nothing, which makes no sense, right? Because here I am thinking of nothing, but I'm still here, so that's something. Anyway, what a paradox. But the idea is, if the witness aspect of oneself is weak at first, it's not surprising that we keep getting caught up in the stream of the vrittis, the fluctuations of consciousness. And then unconsciousness fills the role, which is to keep us ignorant and forgetful. So one idea in yoga is to be patient and to persevere. Now, another thing that's really interesting is the idea of the yogi as the hero, a person who separates themselves from what is known. You got to live the life of a maverick to a certain extent, and then accept the fact that there are tests and trials. And this is the part of you that is more humanistic in a certain way, because instead of it being like a torture or a torment, it turns out to be a sacramental grace if you put the yoke of the Olympian on yourself. What does that mean? The Olympian is the part of you that believes in your own worth in advance of performance. It realizes that your daily routine is a groove, not a rut. And you put in your time because you learn to do what you set out to do. You develop skills through your training, and you train like the regimen of a champion, which means you have to do something, perhaps setting precedents where there were no precedents before. And then you learn to offer to your form what others do not. It's the people who don't go that extra mile. You learn why it's important to and how to go that extra mile in your life. And so that's what we call taking the offensive. The answer almost always is in an action. What are you going to do? What's your action plan? Now, initially, the guru, which represents that you think of something outside of yourself, but it's ultimately just consciousness, the guru is ruthless to your ego, but compassionate to the self. And so you have to find out from that which is within you, because at some point you have to leave the guru behind and go where you've never been before. If you continue to follow the guru's path, that's their path. So to find a place of rest inside yourself where you find your center, where you really exist. You're not completely divorced from social commitments, otherwise it wouldn't be integrated, you'd be isolated. And your own path is not the direction of the guru, which initially it seems like the guru knows what's best for you, but you got to learn to pursue it in your own way. And that's how what we call leading from within to the outside, rather than indoctrination, which comes from the outside into you. So find out what is the story that straightens you out, eases your anxiety, and puts you in accord with the inevitables of life. As Socrates said, know thyself, but almost all philosophy will say it's the meditation on death that begins the real spiritual path, because you realize you don't have all the time in the world. Time is running out. And you're one closer to the day of your own death and maybe no closer to the goal you don't have. So how do you find this out? Well, through research, through study. But I always say the first part is what I call ego syntonic. Find the things that you love to do. Find the things that you're passionate about, that make you feel most alive, that give you a zest for life, and put your energy into that on a daily basis. And learn how to move the pieces around your own life's chessboard so that you make that priority. And then everything revolves around that. And then you'll see what happens. And if you don't do that, all I can tell you is from my own experience, I tried not thriving. It didn't work.